Hey YouTube, it's your boy Karan from Droid Island, and I'm back with another video. And this time we're talking about, are smartphones really worth the money? Especially here in the Caribbean. Check it out. Alright, so this is a topic that's been heavily discussed by a lot of people. I've been having the conversations more and more frequently than ever before because the smartphone market has changed dramatically over these last couple of years. Okay, we are seeing some of our flagship devices, the prices again, they just keep going up and up and up every year. But being in the Caribbean, where there's additional charges on top of the regular prices of some of these devices, does it make those devices just not worth the price tag? So in this video, I'm going to be picking on a couple of devices, mainly two in particular, the Samsung S8 and the iPhone 7, okay? And the reason why those two devices come to mind is those are two of the more popular devices right now. They also carry the highest price tags, okay? Now, this is my thought on some of these flagship devices. A lot of these devices do not do well in markets like the Asian markets. They don't do well in the Indian markets. And they're doing okay in the Caribbean, but that's because we kind of follow what happens in America. But here's the problem with that. When a phone like the Samsung S8 comes out and it goes over to the American markets and the Canadian markets, those markets have very good device subsidies. So they don't really take on the brunt of the cost for phones. So it's easy for them to pick up. It's not the case for us here in the Caribbean. So when they come down to the Caribbean, you know, it's whatever the price is for the retailer sets and this additional sum of money that we have to pay. And it kind of pushes some of these devices into a space where I just don't think they're worth the money anymore. Alright? Now, you have some amazing companies in the European markets. To name a few, we got Vivo, we got Huawei, we got ZTE, we got Xiaomi, we got Echo, okay? Oppo. These manufacturers that make some of the best Android devices out right now, and they are managing to do this by giving us flagship level specs at half the price of some of these top tier flagships like an S8 or an iPhone 7, okay? When you really break down some of these devices, some of them even have identical specs. For example, I did my last video in regards to like the OnePlus 5. The OnePlus 5 has almost identical specs to the Galaxy S8. The Xiaomi Mi 6, same thing. The ZTE Z17, same thing. There's a lot of devices that have almost the same specs on paper, but they're half the price. So when you watch the reviews, and if you manage to get two of those devices in your hand, the big difference really when it comes down to it is usually the camera, because performance sometimes is even better. Look at the case of the Mi 6. The Mi 6 has been outperforming the Galaxy S8 on a lot of people's tests. So, but where it really does shine is in the camera. So, you know, one has to wonder, you know, how much more is having this amazing camera by techie standards? Because let's be honest, the average person is not going to be printing out a picture that they've taken from their phone. The average person simply wants to be able to take some good quality pictures and video on their device so they can post up to social media. So in a market like the Caribbean, where the prices of these devices come and they're so inflated, you know, when you have devices like the Mi 6 that are half the price, if we started to bring some of these devices down here, they would be well received, because I mean, they're going to give you top performance. They're going to give you the flagship level specs that a lot of the tech guys really look at. You're going to get that. the average person, again, is not going to notice the difference between a lot of these pictures that they're going to be taking, since they're only going to be posting it to social media. And you're going to be able to spend so much less for an amazing device. Now, this is why I gotta commend, companies like Huawei, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, Lenovo, OnePlus, because they have figured out that, since the cost of smartphones, they just keep rising every year, they can now make these amazing mid-range devices. I mean, if you can call them that. They make these amazing devices with flagship level specs at half the price of the of like a Samsung S8 or an iPhone 7, right? Now, if these manufacturers, I pray you guys are watching. I can only pray. The day these manufacturers decide, you know what, we're gonna take a chance in the Caribbean, and we are gonna come down to the Caribbean and start to sell some of these devices, they would just do so much better, because you're gonna be able to get these great, amazing devices at so much better prices. And this is what we need, especially in the Caribbean markets. Okay. Now I want to do something. I want to do a quick comparison. Okay. Now, I've spent pretty much my whole life back in Canada, and I'm now enjoying my time here in the Caribbean. So I can make a comparison, because I know both of the markets pretty good. All right. So let's just say if I decided I wanted to purchase a Samsung S8 back in Canada on TELUS. Okay. I have a couple of options. I can walk into TELUS and say, hey, I'm looking for the S8, and I can sign a 2-year contract, 24 months, all right? And I can pick up the S8 for free. They will give me the S8 on a 2-year contract. And I would have to take a plan that is 90 Canadian a month. Now, for my local audience, my TT audience, 90 Canadian works out to be $460. That's not bad, okay? Sign a 2-year contract and get the phone for free? I'd gladly do it. The other option would be I could pay a little bit of money up front. So I could pay 200 Canadian up front, okay? Which would work out to be 1,000 TT. And I would then have to take a monthly plan of 80 Canadian, which works out to be $415 TT. All right, 2-year contract as well. So I walk in with $1,000, sign a 2-year contract, and my monthly bills me $400 a month, and I would get me a brand new Samsung S8. Now that's pretty good. Okay. Now I'm gonna use B Mobile down here, and I'm gonna use B Mobile. Don't hate me too much. I'm going to use B Mobile because they have a bit more information on their website than Digicel does in regards to the plans and whatnot, okay? And the prices of the S8. Now, B Mobile, if I decide I'm on prepaid, okay? I'm on prepaid, I walk into B Mobile and I want to pick up S8. That is going to run me $9,400 TT dollars. That, my friends, works out to be 1,400 US and 1,800 Canadian dollars. Now, is the Samsung S8 worth 1,400 US? No. Is the Samsung S8 worth 1,800 Canadian? No. Even TELUS, if you wanted to buy the phone off contract with TELUS, is only 1,000 Canadian. So 1,000 Canadian is 5,200 TT. Okay. Now, the first thing my critics are going to say is, oh, but you can't compare the Caribbean market and the Canadian market. Oh, the population, this, that, and the third. But the reason why I can compare it to the Canadian market, okay, is the population of Canada, the whole of Canada. The population of Canada is only 34 million. The population of the Caribbean is 45 million. So we actually have more people in the Caribbean than we do back in Canada. Now America is a different story. I mean, they have a much larger population, but I mean, we can definitely compare the Caribbean to the Canadian market. Now, Digicel, if I wanted to pick up the S8 on Digicel, if I wanted to go buy the device, it's 7100 TT, and 7100 TT works out to be, 1400 Canadian, 1050 American. And if I decided to, take it on a postpaid plan, it's 6300 TT. All right, and again, that's still spending, upwards of $600 a month. I forgot to add in that with B Mobile, to even get the device for $52.50 on B Mobile, I would have to take a monthly plan of 600 TT a month. That's a lot of money. 600 TT a month works out to be 115 Canadian, 90 US. So that's a sizable amount of money. That's a big difference, because Telus was, remember, 80 Canadian to get that device on the 2-year contract, right? And this would be 115 Canadian. So you definitely do see the difference. So again, when you have devices like an S8 or iPhone, where again you're paying so much money for the phone, is the phone worth it? And to me, it's just not. Not taking anything away from the S8. S8 is still arguably one of the best Android devices on the market. Okay, I just don't think it's worth the money that we have to pay. Now, people are going to say, well, you can't get away from that. I mean, there's things you could do, like send the phone to your family or friend that's coming into the country, have them bring it in for you. That way you could try to duck customs, whatever, however you guys do it. Cool. If you can pick up an S8 for a good price, hey, no problem. But I mean, if you have to walk into one of our service providers and pay that kind of money for the phone, to me, it's just a no-go. It's just not worth the money. And there's just so many devices on the market that you can go and pick up at half the price that actually makes complete sense. Okay? Now, I want to hear from you. If you think smartphones, are worth the money that we have to pay, leave a comment. If you think that, they're not worth how much we have to overpay, especially because we're in the Caribbean. If you think they're no longer worth, the money, leave a comment as well. All right. Don't forget, please, if you like this video and you want to see some more of me, hit the subscribe button. Also, please turn on the notifications. That way, if I release another video, you guys are going to be notified as soon as possible, and you'll be able to come and check me out. All right? So, once again, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and I am Karan from Droid Island, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.